Lovely welcoming music. First of all, things you should know. If you are watching afar from the internet, especially this is for you, the weekly bulletin can now be accessed through a link right above the YouTube link. Mo is going to bring up a slide that shows where that is. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, see the red circle? I can't see it from here. Today and next week, our Community Outreach Committee is conducting a collection for the Wildlife Center of Southwest Florida. If you're not in town, you can still participate by going to the Wildlife Center's website and click on their wish list. And all of that information is available, you guessed it, through the link on our website. Can you tell? I'm excited about the website and encourage you to study it and find out all the ways you can keep up with what's going on here at UCOV. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, also known as UCOV. My name is Marcia Smith, and I'm happy to be your worship associate for this morning's service. At UCOV, we center love and welcome as we journey together, affirming and supporting one another. All are welcome here who are willing to join in the community of support and caring. We're so pleased you've come to worship with us today. If anyone is visiting for the first time and you're feeling brave or comfortable, please stand up and someone will bring you a microphone and you can introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Carol Latino. I am your new minister's wife, and I'm here to support her. So Welcome, everybody, and I'm happy to see what's a nice crowd here in Venice. First time up here, so happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Greg Mattson. I'm also from Fort Myers, Florida, here to support Albie, and thank you for having us today at this beautiful church.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renato T. Roy. I am also from Fort Myers. We go to the UU Church in Fort Myers, so we are here supporting Albie.
Thanks, Renato and Greg and Carol.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ellen Beebe. This is my first time here.
Welcome.
Welcome. We are now entering a sacred space, so please silence your electronic devices. We light the chalice this morning with words adapted from For the Freedom of Faith by Heather K. Janulis. Our prophets died for the freedom of faith. We are here in their spirit. We are here to practice and sustain our living tradition, to light a chalice, claiming for justice the heat and the power of fire. In our free faith, we are here, gathered in the name of all that we find holy. Let us give thanks for the gift of gathering here. Amen and Ashe. Thank you. That took us on quite a journey today, Lisa. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker today. She is Minister Alberita Johnson. Albie is a minister and a poet. She considers life a series of journeys and looks forward to them all. She was ordained in the Baptist faith and served as a religious educator. She received her commission in ministry within the Unitarian Universalist Association in September 2023 and began a second career. Minister Albee became commissioned lay minister on September 1st, 2023, serving as the interim minister at All Faiths Unitarian Congregation in Fort Myers, Florida, and Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism as part-time CL minister. Prior to that, she served as the Child and Youth Program Director at All Faiths Unitarian. She serves as spiritual anchor and assists in strengthening their relationship with the Unitarian Universalist Association, while renewing vision, growing stewardship, and enhancing lay and professional leadership. She brings over 20 years of ministry experience, is a lover of poetry and circle leadership, of inclusiveness, weaving poems and storytelling with humor while preaching. She embraces diversity, equity, and inclusion with the value of love centered. Welcome, Minister Albee.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. And I brought my handy-dandy tablet, and it's been sitting here, so it went black. So now I have to turn it back on so I can say what I'm supposed to say. Otherwise, I'll talk too much. You know what they say about speakers and orators and preachers? If you give them a mic and give them some place to stand up and talk, they will talk. And that's what will happen to me. So now I'm on, so I will now do my part. Our opening prayer or opening words today are going to be in the form of a prayer. Again, my name is Alberita Johnson. Most people call me Albie. You too may call me Albie. I bring you greetings from All Faiths Unitarian Congregation of Fort Myers, Florida. It's just about an hour south of here. My wife Carol and I are happy to be with you today, and I hope that I'm a blessing to you, because my prayer is often, bless me and make me a blessing. So as I am blessed, I would like to put that forward to you. Our prayer and opening words this morning. The opening words are a prayer. It's called Ultimate Grace by Ma Teresa Tet Gustilio Gallardo. Ultimate grace, the heart of every matter, in every perfection and imperfection, in all senses and tenses, and moments of every right and wrong, presenting choices to inquiring hearts. You are in the purpose and the journey of mishaps. You are in moments of understanding and misunderstanding. We have but to seek and invoke you and enable the work of your spirit. As the prayer is but an articulated common dream, we invoke our ultimate concern for the work of faith. We long to be hand in hand, creating a world where everyone belongs. Remind us of the very questions that we have turned away from, that we thought could not be answered or are impossible to realize. Dear universal intelligence, it is joy and grace that contains everything but confines nothing, and the ever insistence of existence. May this one moment count. Come, let us worship together here. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing the opening hymn, number 361, in your gray hymnals, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Open
time for our offering words, and a reminder today is a special offering for On the Spot Aid, which does so much for homeless folks who need basic health care. As we believe that giving should always happen with a smile, enjoy the following little story. The children were lined up in the cafeteria of an Catholic elementary school for lunch. At the head of the table was a large pile of apples. The nun had posted a note on the apple tray, "Take only one, God is watching." Moving further along the lunch line, at the other end of the table, was a large pile of chocolate chip cookies. A child had written a note, "Take all you want, God is watching the apples." The offering will now be given and gratefully received, and thank you.
I always thought that was a beautiful little melody. And I was watching the other night, thinking about that song. And it says, "From you I receive, and to you I give. And together we share, and from this we live." There's a little sign language that you can do with the song. People don't have to stand and discuss it or try and figure it out, but it's just a few motions to do it. I'll share it real quick again. So it's "From you I receive." So you pull it, you're receiving it. "To you I give," so you stick it, and then you're giving it to them. And then together, it's all of us. Together we share. And from this we live. Let's do it. Can you do it with me? From you, I don't sing. I give, together we share. Very good, very good. That was my plan, and then no singing happened, so I just sat there humming. But we got it down. Thank you all for your offering, and I'm sure it will be used well here. It is now time for joy, sorrows, gratitudes, and celebrations. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together here to bear witness and minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. Before or during the service, you are welcome to light candles on the candle table to my left, your right. During joys and concerns, we will light them for you. So I didn't see anybody running up and doing anything. Who does that? You do it? You take the mics. Okay, here we go. I'm new here, so I have to figure it out. At this time of sharing, you can raise your hand and someone will bring a microphone to you. She has one.
I just want to say, for maybe some of you have missed it, we are sad to note the passing of Judy Houston, who died peacefully in her sleep on August 7th. She was a valued member, friend, and communications leader and we will miss her. A memorial service will be held late summer or early fall.
Hi, I'm Pam Palmer. I have two things I want to mention. One is if you want to sign up for the dinner at Prime, there are only 25 chairs, and we have 17 now. So if you're thinking about it, sign up. And I just want to say thank you for whoever did this garden out this window. We've spent years looking at nothing but dirt. And now we have these beautiful flowers, and not today because of the rain, but often there's a beautiful bevy of butterflies hanging out over here. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Donna Jewett.
Well, I wasn't going to acknowledge that, but I will, because this is the Green Sanctuary Group. We've spent a lot of time planning this as a pollinating garden, and it's way overgrown right now. It definitely needs to be weeded back. You know, it needs a lot of work. But then we also have the edible garden, which still needs a lot of work. But it's a way for people to learn about what you can grow in your own backyard and enjoy the butterflies. And that's why I usually sit up front so I can see the butterflies. Thank you for acknowledging that. I just want to say that I am recovered from my back surgery. I've got a little bit of vertigo, but other than that, I am leaving on Thursday for 6 weeks. So I won't see you until October 1st. Going back to New England. I can't wait.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna, and as you know, I'm the chair of the Social Justice Committee. And I just wanted to inform you that in the social justice table, we're going to have handouts that will, if you are in contact with the immigrant community, landscapers, people in your world that you think may need some support and some legal advice, we have it in Spanish and in English. We also have Know Your Rights. You might say that this is too little, too late, but I think this immigrant community knowing that we support them, that we are with them, no matter what's going on with up on top, I think that's going to matter to them, that's going to encourage them. And also the information is useful. I think unfortunately they do need legal advice. So if you have anyone in your life that might need this, it's in the middle of the night. Thank you.
I'm Jean B., and as most of you know, on the first Sunday of the month, we do birthdays. We do a birthday celebration with our refreshments afterward. Well, there are refreshments afterward today, but they're not for birthday. You know, when I got up here last week and talked about the August birthdays, I forgot to do a happy birthday song. Remember? I forgot that. Would you do it now? Because there's a special new person who has an August birthday. Carol? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carol. Happy birthday to you. Thanks.
Is there someone else? Joys, sorrows, gratitudes? Okay. Alongside the names and the people who have spoken today, we know are certain joys, sorrows, and gratitudes that remain private and unspoken. And those too have a rightful place here. We light this final flame for all of you who may be at home or sitting with us right now, who carry joys, sorrows, and gratitudes in their heart. May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern, and may our light shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we are needed. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. May those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. May it be so. Amen and Ashe.
Our first reading is Trust Yourselves to the Water by Alan Watts. On the faithful expectation that we will be held. Faith is a state of openness or trust. To have faith is like when you trust yourself to the water. You don't grab a hold of the water when you swim, because if you do, you'll become stiff and tight in the water and sink. You have to relax, and the attitude of faith is the very opposite of clinging and holding on. In other words, a person who is fanatic in matters of religion and clings to certain ideas about the nature of God and the universe becomes a person who has no faith at all. Instead, they are holding tight. But the attitude of faith is to let go and become open to the truth, whatever it might turn out to be. For our meditation today, with these words in mind, please join me in 1 minute of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. In the unity of spirit, in the sanctity of this gathering, let us quiet ourselves as we settle into a brief meditative moment, a time when we can each listen to that still, small voice within and prepare our hearts and minds for today's service. Our second reading is All Too Often We Pace the Geometries of Our Walled Gardens by John Gibb Millspaugh. All too often we pace the geometries of our walled gardens, believing we are traversing the whole of creation. With spirits of discovery, let us uncover the mysteries nested in our routines. With the eagerness of children, let us seek out the secrets unfolding in our peripheral vision. Let us behold each fellow creature with reverence. Let us greet each day with praise and thanksgiving, for life is a gift of incomprehensible magnitude. Our lives are voyages with unknowable destinations. Along the way, let us meet, kiss, challenge, and support one another. Let us fashion a network of mutuality and extend it into the larger world. In these ways, we forge lives of goodness and beauty. In these ways, we know the life of prayer. Now please rise in body or spirit and join in singing number 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll
build a land. Well, justice shall roll down like peace and an ever-flowing stream. Can't you just see it in your mind's eye? You just think about if justice was like a waterfall and it just came down upon all of us. Wouldn't things be wonderful? That's the kind of world, that's what we UUs think about when we want to build a world or build a place. We want justice to roll down upon all of us, with love, of course, at the center. Well, today, we're going to talk about faith and belief. And I said to myself, Albie, maybe we shouldn't do that for Unitarian Universalists. You know how we can get when we get too religious and too spiritual. But then I said to myself, well, we're grown-ups. We can take it. We can do it. We can learn some new things or ignore some old things. Either way, this is what you're going to get today. So I first want to thank you all for inviting me here, for allowing me to stand before you and to share from my heart. I would like to thank you, Marcia. She really helped me a lot, sending me the emails and tolerating my numerous questions. I appreciate it very much. And also for your intern minister, Amy Petrie Shaw, in her absence. I thank her for allowing me to stand here also. And so let us get started. So as you noticed while we were singing, I made sure to tell our tech person, do not have my mic on when my mouth starts to sing. Just like that. Don't do it. If you heard it, please do like I said. That's something that you definitely want to ignore. My voice, sometimes I think I have a tune, sometimes I don't. So many years ago, when I was convinced that I could carry a tune, I thought, I can do this. I joined the choir at my church, and I recall a hymn we sang, and it was called Move Mountain, Get Out of My Way. It was a difficult hymn for us. It was filled with beautiful harmonies and leaned very heavy upon the Black gospel sound. So I thought, I could definitely do this. It sounds like my thing. I was brought up in the Baptist church. I heard all of the gospel singing. I'm a Black person. I got this. Well, I didn't have it. I remember how we struggled to sing that song, to get the harmonies just right. Somehow singing the actual hymn became a mountain. For us, we had to try to climb over that mountain or speak to the mountain, just like the song said. Move, mountain, get out of my way. And isn't that just how things seem to turn out sometimes? Our message, the music, our thoughts, parts of our efforts to amplify and impact our surroundings, our outcomes. But sometimes all of that effort, all of those plans become a giant mountain. Well, that hymn, Move Mountain, Get Out of My Way, tells you what to do about it. Move mountain, get out of my way. It's a hymn that points to the power of faith. You don't know if the mountain's going to move. I'm going to talk to you anyway. And there's another song I would like to highlight called No Weapon. This song was written and performed by a Grammy-winning gospel music pioneer, a gentleman named Fred Hammond. And the song is an inspiring and encouraging reminder to believe that there are no weapons to fear, and that no weapon ever truly, completely prospers. And that's a hard one. Weapons, they're designed to harm and cause problems and danger. But this song is telling us, no fear, they don't really prosper. So today we're going to journey together. This morning, we're going to dive deep and explore roles of faith and belief through the lenses of the sacred art of oral tradition in story and in song. So you'll hear me mention a lot of different songs and maybe tell a couple of tales, stories that is. I hope you enjoy. We'll focus on how sacred stories carried by the word of mouth eventually became living roots and the enduring backbone of the world's great religions. And then we're going to wrap it up, all of this in 20 minutes. We'll wrap it up reviewing the spiritual dimensions of faith, belief, and sharing through a living tradition, which we should also be very familiar with because we always talk about living tradition as Unitarian Universalists. So we're going to highlight our UU, our Unitarian Universalist living tradition of faith and reasoning, and we want to balance it because when we balance it, we may get some sweet harmony. Isn't that right, Lisa? Knock, knock. Caught you. Well, anyway, I talked to everybody, so everybody that I walked around and I shook your hand, I may remember your name. I give you a shout out. Anyway, so our religious, spiritual, and or philosophical text, because I'd like to let you know, if we're going to talk about sacred words and sacred things, you would think that I did a little digging to try to find something sacred to share with you. So I thought, oh boy, what can I share? Well, we're going to go right to that Bible. I know we don't have them. They're not stuck anywhere, but we're going there. Calm down, UUs. Our religious, spiritual, and or philosophical texts today are from the Jewish and Christian Bible, which we just call the Bible. The first is in Isaiah, that prophet. And he says, just like the song, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise up against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. What does that all mean? We squish it up and try and figure it out. This verse reassures believers of God's protection and vindication. Basically, belief in the protection of their God. This is what he was telling them. And the second is in Matthew. If you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, like the song I tried to sing, move from here and there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. This verse emphasizes that even the smallest amount of faith can enable one to overcome significant challenges, symbolizing the power of faith in overcoming life's difficulties and challenges. Oh yes, and there are many examples across major religions and spiritualities that point toward faith and belief, and they were all established with oral traditions. According to a think tank based in Washington, D.C., that focuses on spiritual culture, religion, and belief, there are several examples. So I'm going to go through quite a few. I'll go quick. The first one we'll talk about is Judaism, the people of the spoken covenant. The Jewish tradition famously regards itself as a people of the book, yet the roots of the Torah are deeply oral. Before the Torah was written, it was passed down orally through generations. Even today, the oral Torah is considered as binding as the written Torah, while the Mishnah and Talmud, though now written, stem from centuries of memorized legal debate and storytelling. In fact, the Jewish Bible in Deuteronomy says, impress them upon your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and you walk along the road. And the question is, talk about what? Impress upon them what? Well, the answer is the stories of their people, their God, and their faith. You see, according to the Bible, this is not just poetic advice. It is a mandate to lives shared through oral tradition. And Hinduism. Recitation is received as revelation. The Vedas, the most ancient and authoritative text of Hinduism, were not originally written, but chanted from master to student over thousands of years. The precision of the Vedic recitation is so exact that even modern linguists marvel at how these hymns were preserved nearly unchanged across millennia. Not just 2 years, not 3 years, not millennia. Indeed, the guru-student relationship or teacher-disciple relationship was actually founded on this oral dynamic. The student listened, memorized, and internalized the truths, not just intellectually, but spiritually, so it can move from here to here and back and forth. Now, here in the West, we're familiar with the syllable Om. I'm sure you are, because we know stuff like that. Yes, we do. So I'm going to ask you to get to your feet again if you can. Rise in body or spirit. You could do it. And I'm going to keep talking while you're getting yourselves ready. Stretch the bones. The Upanishads encourage one to let a man meditate upon the syllable Om, for the syllable is Brahman. And for them, Brahman is the imperishable one, the big God. So let us try it. Can we do 3 Oms really quick? Okay, so get your breath going, because you know you don't want to die out before the Oms are done. I'm going to move away. Microphone person, remember, I'm not the best singing. Okay. 3. Let us do it. You might want to close your eyes so you really get your own going. Here we go. Again, nice and loud. Isn't it beautiful? You may be seated. For them, we are making a sacred sound, a sound that calls upon the imperishable one. The imperishable one. The Om syllable, the actual sound itself, was seen as divine. So we just made a divine sound, not merely symbolic, but sacramental for them. It means so very much. And then, of course, Christianity, something that our foundation is built upon. Jesus had many parables. You know, they were the impious. And Jesus, he never wrote a book. Instead, he taught through stories and parables that were short, powerful, and deeply memorable. There were stories of the Good Samaritan, the prodigal son, the mustard seed, like the song, and it carried radical truths that shook the foundations of empires and religiosity alike, even to this day, all from oral tradition. Early Christians shared these teachings orally, often in secret, in homes and catacombs. And after the Gospels themselves were written decades after Jesus' resurrection, they, of course, were based on oral accounts that were preserved. And we move further along, it tells us in their Bible, so faith comes by hearing, and hearing through the Word of God. It wasn't as if they had a big paper and tried to show you. You had to sit around, listen, talk, and memorize as much as you can. Maybe we should try that again. These technological things have us staring at our phones telling us everything. Maybe we might want to talk more. And in Islam, it is considered the voice of revelation, and the Quran was first revealed orally to the Prophet Muhammad over a period of 23 years. He recited it aloud, and his followers memorized and transmitted it in what became the sacred science of Tajweed, the meticulous oral recitation of the Quran. Even today, many Muslims become Hafiz, those who memorize the entire Quran as spiritual achievement and a devotional act. Hence, the oral tradition in Islam is not merely historical, it is liturgical, communal, and deeply intimate. So I open today sharing about 2 songs, each pointing to faith and belief. They're taken from the Bible, the Jewish and Christian Bible. The first one, once again, Move Mountain, Get Out of My Way, is a hymn that points to the power of faith. And the second, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to the mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. So what does that mean for us right now in the 21st century? Well, right now, even across the world, there is a struggle to adjust to constant and rapid change. So much so that the changes themselves appear to many of us around the world as an enormous mountain that seems impossible for us to get around, to climb over, to dig under. Hence, we must have faith, even like the little mustard seed that that mountain, that issue, that concern that can be in your way can be resolved and moved. In faith, that is. And our second text, no weapon, points to belief in the sacred, something or someone outside of ourselves that is also deeply related, and in this case, to God. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. Now, for some of us here, we may start feeling a little something, ooh, too much Bible, so and so, so. Well, my mom, who's 98 years old, used to say, spit out the bones, chew the meat. Chew the meat, spit out the bones. If it is not nourishing to you, why are you trying to eat it? See, very simple. Take what you want, leave behind what you don't. No need to get uptight. Just do you. That's the kids say, do you. Okay, we're gonna do us. Exactly. So this verse reassures believers of God's protection and vindication, because right now, my friends, even across this entire world, many continue to struggle to believe in a God and the goddess, Allah, Brahman, the imperishable one, the Tao, which is also called the Way, the great divine mystery by many names. People are struggling. They don't know what to do. Is there a God? How can these things be going on? Well, I believe that most of us realize there's an objective reality to which language corresponds. Let me give you a bunch of words. Blah, blah, blah. Often, the descriptions concerning the great divine mystery are an attempt by us mere humans to make something extremely abstract within ourselves and believing communities basically easier to understand. That's all that these stories are about. How can I help you to understand the great divine, if there is one? And a lot of it was done by recitation, meditation, memorization, stories, poems, and song, all basically seeking the answers to questions within every culture. Who or what is God? Is there a God? Should I believe? And all of this is passed down from oral history, through song, through stories, through poems. Didn't just pop up. It's our history. My friends, right now, our nation is looking for something or someone to trust, to believe, and to have faith in, because we know the safety net of so many is at risk, even myself, at risk. My name is on the list. You know the word, not my name, but you know that infamous list of words that are supposed to be forbidden all of a sudden? Well, I'm on there 3 times. I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm lesbian. I'm like, okay, 3 strikes, you're out. I never know. So we have to live our lives wondering what may happen to those we care about, those who we love, even ourselves. And for many people, they start, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All of a sudden, maybe prayer might work. We start trying to do everything. You know, some people might actually believe in, if you name it and you say it and you keep holding on to it, then it'll eventually happen to you. They may say it in that way, but I know what that is. You're talking about faith. You see, we like to dance around it because it sounds too religious to us, but why should we do that? We're too intelligent, aren't we? Yeah, you're a quiet audience. You're quiet, but I see you listening, and that's important. That's very important. So the various stories in the informed communities that have been passed down for centuries are part of their DNA, and it's also part of our DNA, because we know we've been exposed to it. We cannot go anywhere. If you just drive 2 or 3 blocks, there's a church. You can't miss them. They're all around us. Most of us grew up in it. Many of us are standing on that very foundation that we want to dust our feet on, but it is so. So, faith and belief are difficult concepts for many to embrace, and I understand that because there's some harsh realities and some things that have happened to people, spiritualities and religious. People have experienced things that were just not pleasant. But I would like to think that we are not so naive to believe that the impulse to shun people of faith arises not from the presence of their belief itself, but from what that belief is perceived to represent in a given context. For example, the African American hymns often speak of faith, the ability to trust or have faith in God, while also teaching the importance to continue moving forward, not only seeking freedom, but liberty and justice. There was a song we used to sing back in the old Baptist church, and it was called, "We Come This Far by Faith." And it went, I'm singing. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in his holy word, or his holy name. He's never failed me yet. So now we're singing the song, oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. That's the whole song. Now we may think it's all about God, but to the African American mindset, that song was written in 1930. It's saying, we come this far, and we're not turning around, y'all. We're just going to keep going forward. So you see, songs, you have to understand the stories. You have to understand it in the context of which they were written and who was singing it, and the same thing with storytelling and with poems and with other prose and any stories that you're telling. If you take it out of there, it may not mean the same thing. If you don't understand the person or the community or that complete context, how that song came about, you'll miss the mark, because we'll be so focused on God and forgetting that it's not all that. We come this far and we're not turning around. So that song, when we sang it, it meant a whole lot more. To some, it didn't have anything to do with God. It was all about keeping that faith and going forward, and no matter what, don't turn around. Don't go back, which is what we see starting to happen in this country. And we're all in a state of panic. Why are we doing this? We've been there before, so we know better. We know better. So keep going forward is what that song says. Go forward. Very important. A story, a chant, or Christian hymn as the one that I just shared. For some, it may cause friction to those who are not familiar with the context of the hymn, its cultural impact on a given people. Some might even respond with exclusion. Some might jump up right now and walk out. The reasons are layered as to why some might respond with exclusion, anger, or righteous indignation, just to people of faith and belief. But we are UUs, we know better than that. Love is at our center. How dear us. At one point in my life, I too was deeply disturbed by such reactions. But I think I understand now. I believe the reactions occur because it touches on deep currents of history, psychology, and cultural tensions. People have been harmed. So the impulse to shun people of faith often arises not from the presence of belief itself, but as I've shared, it is from what that belief is perceived to represent in a given context. So I'm going to give you a couple of these layers, some of the reasons why people may respond with exclusion, jump up and run, get nervous and afraid, and don't want to hear. Some of it is historical, cultural backlash. They may have experienced religious trauma or abuse. Some have experienced harm within religious institutions, whether through exclusion, moral condemnation, physical and emotional abuse. And they may associate faith with control and hypocrisy, so they run away. They need healing, not to run. Then we have political entanglements, and we know about that, where religion is tightly woven with political ideologies and faith is seen as a vehicle for oppression. We see that within the LGBT community, plus so many letters now. The policies, gender inequality. We know we saw the UUA, the WEAR lecturer, and the WEAR lecturer at the General Assembly, and she talked about the trans community, and she said it's just 1% of the entire country. But you would think that there was a trans person living right next door to you. This is how much it got pushed out there to find something wrong with these people. You see, we have to remember to separate it. We know, separate. And then we also have the colonial legacies of faith traditions, especially Christianity, because it was used to justify colonization. And in post-colonial societies, this can lead to suspicion or rejection of religious identities. And that's just 3 reasons. What about intellectual and philosophical tensions? Because some people may think, oh, you're religious, you're just stupid. I know I shouldn't use that word, but that's what they really mean, because it says stuff like this. Well, perceived anti-intellectualism. Some view religious beliefs as incompatible with scientific reasoning or critical thought, especially when the doctrine conflicts with the modern understandings of the world. So we get in here, and we forget the heart. Then we have dogmatism and pluralism, or dogmatism versus pluralism. So here in a pluralistic society, exclusive truth claims can feel threatening. So you see, we are in a pluralistic world here in Unitarian Universalism. So we have one person who says, this is the only way. We may not like that very much. We may not, because it can seem a little threatening and exclusive. So you're the only one. Okay, so what about everybody else? People may shun believers if they perceive them as unwilling to engage in open dialogue. So there are reasons: psychological, social, fear, judgment. If someone feels judged or morally condemned by another religious person, they may respond with avoidance, hostility, may become a little defensive. And then, sometimes people begin to project their identity upon others. So you have a defense. Rejecting faith can be a way of asserting your autonomy. I am okay, I don't need a God. But that's okay, no one said you did. We're just talking. Especially if belief was once imposed upon you. So shunning believers may be a form of self-protection for some people. There are many different reasons. But we have to remember, we have to keep love at the center of all we do. So what happens? The paradox persists. Many who reject religion are still searching for meaning, connection, and ethical grounding. Some even carry what religious scholars call a little tiny religious residue just hanging on your sleeve. It's just there, it just won't go away. It's a lingering sense of ritual, morality, and a longing for a transcendence. And that's all right also. So I'm closing here now. Today I close briefly exploring the Unitarian Universalist tradition as it shines the light on how faith, belief, and reason dance together in like a harmony, not in opposition, but in harmony. We practice a living tradition precisely because it evolves through shared experience, ethical reflection, and spiritual openness. So Unitarian Universalism continues to draw from the 6 rich sources that reflect both spiritual depth and intellectual integrity. The first one we know is direct experience of mystery and wonder that renews the spirit and opens us up to life's creative forces. Second, prophetic voices, which we know is oral tradition, you see? Past and present. And they call us to justice, compassion, and love's transformative power. And of course, wisdom. Wisdom from all of the world's religion, because they inspire ethical and spiritual life across traditions. And our foundation, Jewish and Christian teachings that emphasize love of the neighbor, of our neighbors, and a divine compassion. And then we have our humanists, deep insights, urging us to trust reason and science and to resist idolatry of mind or spirit. And then we have our cups people, earth-centered spirituality, honoring the sacred rhythms of nature and our interdependence upon her. And they're all reflected in what we now call our values. In June 2024, we finally got it done. All of those bylaws and how are we going to, what's taking away the principles and what are we going to replace them with? And it was all kind of carrying on at the General Assembly during the debates and the delegates duking it out. Well, what are those values? We have how many? Somebody tell me. 7. Are you sure? 7, 6, 5, 8? I'll just read them. You can count. Interdependence is the first one I'm going to go with. We honor the independent web of all existence and acknowledge our place in it. Second one, pluralism. We are all sacred beings, diverse in our culture, experience, and theology. 3, justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all feel welcome and can thrive. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. Generosity. I'm going to take my fingers down, see if y'all counting. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. and equity. We declare that every person, no matter whether they believe, whatever they believe, is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. And how do we hold that together? Love at the center, that's right. Call it out, it's okay, it's a dialogue. With love as the center, that's the power that holds us together. And it's centered in our values that we share. Friends, ours is not a static creed, it's a living covenant. Unitarian Universalist communities affirm the inherent worth of every person, justice and compassion in human relations, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence. And we keep that love right in the center. Without that love holding it, we would not be able to apply and live those values out loud, hence a living tradition. In Unitarian Universalist life, faith is not merely belief, it's an embodied practice. So we think that we're not a people of faith, but yes, we are a people of faith. If you hold on to those values, you believe those values are effective and they mean something. You have faith in them. It's okay. It's just a word. So in UU life, faith is not merely belief. It's an embodied practice. We do it in worship. Worship is often poetic, musical, and reflective, and we draw from many different traditions. We embody ethical action. That's why we have social justice and social action teams. Justice work, environmental stewardship, and mutual care is central, and we embody. And reason. Because reason is not a threat to faith, but a companion in the search for truth and meaning. It's not a threat. We can reason it out. As I say, we can walk it out. We could talk it out. As the UU minister, Reverend Kathleen Rowlands, I don't know if you look at the UUA website often, but if you did, you'll see her name a lot. And she was my mentor's mentor. So I'm reading a book, and I'm telling my mentor all excited about the book. And he says, I know that book. And I'm like, oh, yeah, my mentor wrote that book. Well, how wonderful it was to know that I can share with my mentor about a book I'm reading that his mentor actually wrote. Talk about companionship and compatibility, all of the years between us, but yet we crossed that bridge when we found out about Kathleen Rowlands. She says, throughout history, we have moved to the rhythms of mystery and wonder, prophecy, wisdom, teachings from ancient and modern sources, and nature herself. For me, we are a bridge for belonging in a world where belief can be divisive. We Unitarian Universalists offer a model of spiritual hospitality and radical welcoming, which I experienced when I came in here. You don't need to affirm a specific doctrine to belong. Instead, you're invited in a shared journey, one that honors both your questions and your convictions. To believe or not to believe, that is the question. And indeed, the answers vary. However, our faith and our multiple beliefs are still being orally shared, sung, and written to inspire us to live a life filled with love, with wonder, with faith, wellness, belief. Because after all, what is hope except all of that and more? I think you agree. If so, let me hear you say amen. Amen. And ashe. Thank you. Okay. You can clap.
We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, 128, For All That Is Our Life.
Our closing. We have two parts. One is in some lines from Rumi, the Sufi poet, and then I will close with the benediction. So from Rumi, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And now the blessings of truth be upon us. The power of love direct us and sustain us. And may the peace of this community preserve our going out and coming in from this time forward until we meet again. Go in peace.
Welcome.